We're here again. I probably will not be able to actually come to court every single day because, I got a regular job. But I was able to come back to see the techniques of what the O.J. Simpson team that is manned by Mark A. Angelero. I could never pronounce the man's name. I'm sorry. I really should learn how to pronounce his name properly, especially since he is the crux of my anxiety. I can't believe that one man, one lawyer, could be the main lawyer for such notorious cases. It's just, hopefully he's living in the Hamptons. He has a Hampton house. So anyway, today I got a chance to see how the cross-examination of a survivor with the Alexander brothers is Miss Brooke. Miss Brooke, that's not her real name. She's going incognito. When she met them, she was 16 years old. It was 2 days before her 17th birthday. So anyway, when I walked into the courts, the government was just finishing her questioning. So they started pretty early because I got there early, but they probably started exactly at 9 o'clock because it was finishing. And what I heard from her was they asked her why after 17 years she came forward. She said that what happened to her has been chasing her all her life. And she did not realize that it was still continuing after all these years. She said until she saw an investigation of the story, she couldn't believe that they still continued to do that to other people. She felt that they needed to be held accountable after all these years. And she felt that if she didn't come forward and they are not held accountable, they will continue to do it. She said it really upset her to realize that they never stopped. I guess in her mind, like a lot of survivors often blame themselves, even though some people think they don't. They do often blame themselves and say, if I wasn't there at that particular time, that even though what happened to me was wrong, but if I wasn't there, maybe it wouldn't have happened. And sometimes they hold that. And she was 16 years old, and she went to a Hampton party. Her mother and dad did not know that. So she didn't want to tell them that either. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of complicating factor of why she held this secret for 17 years. But at the end of the day, she's like, finally, I saw they were being brought for justice. I couldn't believe they continue to do this after 7 years. This has been something that has impacted my life heavily for 17 years. It's been something that's been chasing me. And I just wanted to stop, and I just want to let everybody know this is who they are. This is what they did to me, and they need to be held accountable. So that's how they closed it up. Hi, how are you? ITV, Kermit, how you doing? How was your day? It's going okay. I had to go back to court to get my phone. That's why I'm talking so late. Because when I left earlier, there was a long line of nationalized American. I keep forgetting that Friday is the ceremony for everyone who wants to be an American, United States citizen. So when I left the court, there was like, if I say like over 200 people online, I was like, no, I have to get out of here. I had to go to a meeting at the job. So I left my phone and my tripod in the courthouse. So I just rushed back to get it before they closed the courthouse. So if I sound out of breath, it's because I'm thickum. And also I was trying to rush to the courthouse to get my phones before they shut the door. Anyway, so then the cross-examination happened. And at least they had the good sense to bring in a female. Now, our girl, Nicole, oh my God, I always forget her name, that the black female that actually cross-examined the survivors of Diddy trial, she was out of line. She was disrespectful. What is it? Waterhouse? I always get her name wrong. Whatever her name is. One day I need to get her name wrong. I think I'm intentionally blocking her full name But her first name is Nicole. She was out of line. She was disrespectful. She laughed at the survivors, and she played in their face. But the YT prosecutor, she was a lot better, right? So right now, and they were very strategic in the DD trial. So they had the black defense lawyer, female defense lawyer, questioning the people of color, and they had the white defense lawyer question the white women. They're doing the same thing now. So Miss Brooke looks to me to be a YT woman, and they had a YT prosecutor. She came in soft and easy, right, to ask specific questions. I didn't see any aggression in her. She kept her question pretty, I mean, not mild. You could tell when she felt that she was getting to a point, and her voice become kind of rapid, like the question would become rapid one after the other, in which the judge had to stop her and be like, wait a minute. There was a couple of times the judge was like, even I don't understand what you're trying to get at. What are you trying to get at? I'm like, oh shit, you're pissing off the judge. But pretty much she was even killed. She wasn't empathetic or sympathetic, but she had her tone wasn't aggressive or disrespectful like Nicole was. So I'm like, okay. So they brought a YT woman to ask a YT survivor question. She came in respectful. I guess in a weird way, she was kind of respectful. She came in respectful, and she's asking poignant questions, all right? Some of the questions went left. I don't think she expected the answer, but at least she's trying. So overall, based on the questions, they're trying to prove two things, right? And this is what they did with the Diddy trial. Again, this is Mark Angophilia, if I'm pronouncing his name, tactics. He wants to treat every survivor as if they're hoes, right? He wants to place the blame on every survivor essay on them. He doesn't want to place it on the predator because the predator is his clients. So obviously he's going to do everything to make them look bad, right? Oh, damn, that is annoying. Hey, hi, girl, Henny. I was there. I covered this before I hit count. Court. And you know something? I spoke about you this morning, that girl, Henny, because I was trying to remember. I don't know if you were on my live this morning. I said I was trying to remember. How did I hear about the Alexander case? And I was like, I know one of the court officers said, see you in January. And I'm like, what's January? And he was like, oh, January is when the Alexander case is. I'm like, oh, shoot, it's in January? But I'm like, it wasn't the court officer that told me about it. I'm like, oh, no, I know who told me about it. That girl, Henny. So I talked about you earlier, my love. So, babe, that case is tragic. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's triggering. It's horrible. I wish you were here too. I think you would do it justice. But it's horrible, my love. It's horrible. You know? So anyway, let me continue. That's my friend, that girl, Henny. She's amazing. Please follow her if you see this. She's amazing. And the way she covers court, she's very professional. Whereas I'm emotional and I'm cursing people out and calling them pigs and predators and stuff like that. She goes by the books. Me, I'm more emotional. I go by the book too, but I'm calling a motherfucker. Whereas that girl, Henny, not so much. She's definitely more professional. So please follow her. So anyway, of course, Mark, old MO, is to treat everybody as if they're sluts and hoes, right? It's a little bit trickier now, because now you're talking about a 16-year-old. In summary, when I left, they didn't talk about the actual sexual assault. In summary, she was raped by two of the brothers and two other men, right? She woke up with them on top. It started with one. The brother came in, and then by the time she knocked out, she didn't know what the hell was happening. When she woke up, it was four men on top of her. So they didn't talk about the actual day. They talked about before, how she got there, who was at the house, who was at the party, and then they talk about after. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to muddy up her story to show inconsistency. Now, just like they do with all the survivors. Now, it was 17 years ago. She was 16 years old. Also, she was rugged. Yeah, I want to see if I can get. Please let me know if you get it, my love. Please let me know, because you know I ain't trying to pay for it. So let me stop. I don't know how to get it for free. They're expensive. I prefer to go there and write my own notes. But I do want to see the transcript, because I haven't been in every date. But anyway, so She's 17 years old, so she doesn't remember everything. And she said that she was on rugs, right? Because they gave her something to drink. So she was on rugs, so she knew that something was wrong with her. Okay, so the first step was try to prove, based on what the defense was doing, to try to prove why she was at the party. So they start very nicely. So you decided to go to an event and you were invited by who, right? I got the notes here. She was invited by a guy. Let me take out my notes so I can read it off to you guys. Hold on, give me 1 second. Because I believe his name is Matt, not Mark. But I want to make sure I read off the notes to you guys. I had a lot of notes from today. They were going so damn fast. But she pissed off the judge a couple of times. I think the judge, I like the judge because the judge is like, she's no nonsense. And she appears to be empathetic to the survivor. She wants to make sure that she's okay. She's able to answer the question. And she wants to make sure that she's not being pressured. I like that about the judge. Whenever she feels that defense is pressuring her, she's like, wait a minute. Even I don't understand the question. What are you trying to get at? And she would ask the survivor the question herself. She'd be like, okay, she means this. Defense, do you mean this? Yes, judge, she mean this. Do you have an answer to that? So I like the way the judge is. The judge is really cool. I like her a lot. Give me a second. I want to get to today. All right, so they start, oh shit. Here they start. The first thing they start is they're questioning her birth, if she's actually was 16. All right? So apparently they don't believe she was 16. So let's start from the beginning. All right. They're 16 years old. That was yesterday. I want to get to today. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. Ooh, I'm exhausted, guys. Trying to run to get my phone is crazy. Okay. Memorial Day weekend. Date of her birthday was a student. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 minute. Taylor, Jessica, Ariel. 5 to 10 times we were cordial. Service, met him with other people. Matt took us there. It's Matt. So the person's name is Matt. I wanted to confirm that. Okay. I have a lot of notes, guys. Matt and Paul was in the bedroom with her. I asked Matt what happened to the rest of the people. Matt said the others didn't make the cut. That was yesterday. I could go back and read that from yesterday, but I talked about it briefly earlier today. Paul kissed me and sat me in the bed. I was feeling uneasy. I felt special when he kissed me because there were other women there and we didn't really talk, so I felt pressure. That was yesterday. All right, hold on 1 second. After he raped her, he said, tell her, don't be mad at me. Then he left the room. That's when he raped her with 3 other guys, including his brother. All right, that was all yesterday. Hold on, guys, I'm still down. I took a lot of notes yesterday, huh? All right. Cross-examined by Alexander. Okay, I think her name was Alexander Logan, but I'm not sure. I have to go back. But I think her name, the lawyer that was cross-examined, is Alexander, which is weird because that's the Alexander brother. So I could be wrong. Alexander Lang or something like that. I think that's the lawyer name, but I could be wrong, which would be weird that the Alexander brother has a lawyer named Alexander. So it's freezing out here, but I'm going to go out here to read off what happened. All right, sorry if my nose is running. It's because it's okay, so she was in a master school, which is a daytime boarding school. So they asked her, are you there 5 days or 7 days? She asked, I'm not sure what you mean, if I was there 5 days or 7 days. She's like, well, were you there a 5-day program or 7-day program? She said, I don't understand. I mean, I was there, and sometimes I was there for 5 days, and sometimes I was there for 7 days. And the first time the judge jumped in, she's like, what do you mean? What are you trying to get her to understand? when you say 5 days, 7 days. He's like, I'm just trying to understand if she was there for 7 days. So the judge look at Miss Brooks and says, okay, I think they want to know, did you live next to your parents? Did you go home for the weekend? She's like, no, I did not live next to my parents. I did not go home for the weekend, but sometime I wasn't there all 7 days because I would sign out and go to a friend's house. Okay. So that's what she said. She said, I didn't go home for weekends, sometimes I go to the friend's house. She said, most of the times, if I'm there only for 5 days, I am at my friend's house. What was the rules about, I guess, leaving the location, right? She said you need to sign out to go away. She said, normally the staff will send an email or get an email or a call saying that, for us to be, go away for the weekend and stuff like that. She said they were very strict. Was there a confirmation, was there, what's the thing, curfew? Oh, God, I can't even spell. Was there a curfew? She said, yes, there was a curfew on the weekday. The curfew is normally 10 o'clock. She said, do you remember the curfew on the weekend? She's like, no, I'm not sure. I don't remember the actual curfew. They went on to talk about the senior prom. She said, do you remember that day, the senior prom? She said, I don't really remember. She said, I missed the whole event. I missed the whole prom. She said there was an event with a girl named Elmira, right? And I wrote the defense got this wrong, right? She said Elmira, the defense got the name wrong. The defense named somebody else and said, oh, let's say Keisha had a lake party event that weekend. And she's like, no, it wasn't Keisha. That's not Keisha. You mean Elmira. I said the defense didn't even know the person's name. I was like, oh, good going. She said there was a lake house party, a huge event. She said, yes, I heard about it, but I missed it because I wanted to go to the Hamptons because that was supposed to be the party of the year, and I've always wanted to go to Hamptons. So instead of going to my prom or that party with my friends, with the people that I knew, I went to the Hamptons. She said, did you want to go to the Memorial Day weekend? She's like, yes, I want to go. She said, are you aware it was a shared house by Matt? So I don't know where they're going with that. I guess I have to tell you, to summarize, at the end of this, they're trying to put everything on Matt. They're not trying to put it on the Alexander brother. They're trying to blame Matt for it. I'm telling you right now, right? She said, do you know if it was a shared house by Matt? She's like, no. I was not giving the impression that it was a shared house or was Matt's house or anything like that. I knew that it was his client's house, that he was sending us to this client house. No, he was there for one night. She said, so was Matt there? He's like, no, Matt was there for only one night and then he left. I wasn't aware that it was a shared house because he was only there for one night. Which the Miss Brooke had a point. Like, if it was a shared house, he would be the whole weekend. Why wasn't he here the whole weekend? He was there for one night. He said, did you hang out with Matt and Taylor several times? She said, yes, I did hang out with Matt and Taylor. Also, I hanged out with Ariel, which is a friend. Ariel was a friend that actually went with her that weekend. She said, have you ever gone to Matt's apartment? She said, yeah, one time I went to Matt's apartment. I think only one time. He said, did you sleep over at Matt's apartment? She's like, no, I don't remember sleeping over to Matt's apartment. She said, did you know that Tyler, was it Troy and Matt? I don't know who Troy is. Again, I'm just coming in late, so there's a lot of names I didn't know. She said, did you know that Troy and Matt was roommates? She's like, no, I didn't know that Matt had a roommate. She said, you were friends with Troy after the alleged assault. She's like, yes, I still maintain friendship with Troy. She said, I don't have anything bad. There's nothing to hate about Troy. I still love him to this day. I love Troy. So I don't know what Troy had to do with it. I don't know if Troy's going to come and contradict her and stuff. But she said, no, I stayed friends with Troy. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I love Troy. I had nothing bad to say about Troy. He said, how did you meet Matt? She said, I met Matt through Taylor. Matthew. Okay. She said, during my senior year through Charlotte, who's the older sister somehow. So they named some people I don't know. Have you been to the dinner and clubs with Matt? Yes. Probably don't remember the names of other people, but I have been out to clubs and dinner with Matt because they were naming several people. Have you gone out to dinner with this person? She said, I don't remember the rest of them. I know that I went out to dinner and clubbing with Matt because apparently Matt was the poly promoter and he is the one that would send texts and everything like that, inviting people to the party. How you got to the club with the fake ID. I mean, how did you get into the club? Did you get to the club with fake ID? Remember, she was 16, and at the time you needed ID. She said, yes, sometime I did. She said, how did you get the ID? Okay, guys, I'm sorry. What I'm doing is I'm giving you the questions from the defense and how she answers, okay? It may, after a while, I write very fast, but after a while I just gave her answers, but that's what I'm doing, okay? She asked, how did you get into an ID? What did it look like? I think it had my face on it. So she said she couldn't remember exactly how she got the ID. She said 17 years ago and I was 16. But she said, I believe I had a Delaware ID made with my face on it, but she said, I'm not sure. She said, did you drink routinely? She said, yes, when I went out. But it was very strict at the boarding school, so we couldn't drink after school. They were very strict, but I did when I went out. And the school is called Master. She said, would you drink during the weekend? She said, sometime, but not on the weekday, like, because they were very strict. She said, did you do rugs? She said, rarely. She said, so did you get high? She said, very rarely did I get high, right? And then the government said objection, and the judge said overruled. So the judge was overruling a lot of the government objections. So even though I love the way that the judge is treating the survivor, she's also not giving room to to the government either. Because every time they objected to her, she's like, I don't think she sustained one objection today. She said, okay, so did you ever do any rugs? She said, yeah, one time I did the big C, the capital C, with Matt Whitman, right? She said we were around a bunch of people. We were around the table. He was trying to get everybody high. And she said, but I was 16 years old. She kept on pressing that, which I love that she did that. She said, kept on saying, look, I was 16 years old. I was 16 years old. So she said, well, did Matt force you or was it voluntarily? She said, it was volunteer. Yes, it was volunteer. He said, did you do pot? I guess she said, did you do pot? And when she said rugs, and she said, did you do any rugs? She's like, no, I didn't do any rugs. And she said, you didn't do any rugs? She said, well, no. She said, but did you do pot? She said, yeah. She said, but pot is not rugs. And the judge came in and looked at her. She said, dear, pot is still rugs. She's like, oh, okay. And it's true, because these kids, even back then, they didn't think pot was rugs. You know what I'm saying? But she's like, okay, if you're thinking pot, then yeah, I did that also. All right? So she said, she asked, was Matt affiliated with the club? She said, I'm not sure how he was affiliated with the club or not. She said, okay, how did you receive invitations? She said, did you get it through text? She said, sometime to text, especially when they went to the Pink Elephant, because one of the clubs that they went to, that she knew that they were supposed to go to, is the Pink Elephant, which is in the Hamptons. So she said, yes, but she said, I don't know that he's affiliated with the club or his clients. And that kind of annoyed the defense, because she's like, at one time they was like, why do you keep calling them clients and stuff like that? Why you keep saying that it's clients and not he's affiliated with the club? She said he brought people to the tables, right? And that's when the defense says, so you keep assuming that they're his clients. She said, yeah, because he brought girls to the tables. He brought girls to their house. He brought girls to different locations that they are in. So in my opinion, if he's bringing them to the house as well as the club, that's their clients. He's not a club promoter. He is working, that's his client. The defense did not like that, right? And she said that he brought girls to the Hampton, right? He brought girls to the city, to places in the city. That was his clients, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think he was affiliated to a club. I think he was that was their client, and he was bringing girls to them. That's Matt, right? So the defense was like, so Matt was invited to a club at the Hampton, invited you to the club at the Hampton? Yes. Did he send you a text message? What was it about? She said, yes, I believe he sent me a text message about a party at the Hampton. She said, but she also said, my recollection is that him inviting me to the Hampton was by phone. He actually called me to invite me. It wasn't just text messages with me and him. He actually called me. Apparently she asked, did Matt has more than one profile on Facebook? She said, I don't know if he had more than one profile on Facebook. She said, most likely when he contacted me, it wasn't through Facebook. It was either through text or he called me. And she said, do you have the phone with the text? She said, no, I no longer have that phone. It's been many years ago. So she said, okay, Memorial Day, he told you about the party. She said, yes. Did he invite Ariel, your friend, or did you invite Ariel? She said, I don't remember who invited Ariel, but Ariel was there. She said, okay, so why did you go to the a party? You just got into Vanderbilt? I guess Vanderbilt is a high-profile college. She's like, yes, I did. And the defense was like, oh, so you wanted to have your last hurrah? She's like, yeah, I wanted to make sure, because I was going to be leaving New York. It was going to be my last big trip, my last hurrah. I wanted to go there before I go to college. She said, did you like Matt? Again, they're trying to push it on Matt. She said, I mean, I was cordial. We had a cordial connection. He wasn't nice all the time, but he was cordial. And he was, he was friendly. He was cordial. She said, so they asked, have you slept, and this is where it comes to, have you slept in Matt's house before? She's like, I don't remember sleeping at Matt's house. I remember going to Matt's house, and something happened, and we left suddenly. Me and a couple of people left suddenly because he didn't respect borders. I guess he tried something. I don't remember sleeping at his house all night. She said, did you maintain a relationship after the incident? She said, I left 3 weeks later, and I believe I stayed connected. She said, you told the government when you met Mac that he was friendly. She's like, yeah. I said he was friendly because he had people around. But at first she was like, I don't remember saying that he was actually friendly. I remember saying that he was cordial. She's like, well, do you want me to show you what you said to the government? So this is what they do. They go back and to October of last year, or they said you met the government 15 times. She's like, yes. Do you want me to go through the notes? So they will go back and they will pull up every interview that you had with the government, and if you got anything wrong, then they will accuse you of being a liar. So she said, I don't remember saying that he was he was friendly. I don't remember. I remember, because he's kind of cordial. So she had to pull it up, and she said, well, now that you saw it, do you remember you saying that he was friendly? I said, okay. She said, possibly I would say that he was friendly. And so she said, did Matt ask you for anything to go to the Hamptons? She said, he's like, no. Did he tell you you would have to be having sex? She said, no. Now, I don't know why they asked that question, because one of the reasons why we are here with the Alexander brothers is because they are trying to prove that they use influence and they use houses and expensive trips to travel these women across the border to have sex with them. So by her asking, did Matt ask you for anything to go to the Hampton? Did he tell you you would have X? To me, it seemed like she's proving the survivor point that I had no intention to go there and have X. I just had intention to go to partying, and nobody told me that was the requirement. So that's why I went. So she asked that question. So it's weird that she asked that question. I know they're trying to get at something, but I just don't know what they're trying to get at with that question. I'm sorry, guys. My nose is running. Sorry. Did you go because this was a big party at the Hamptons? Yes. There was a lot of people, and I wanted to go, and I took my luggage because I wanted to go to Hamptons for the weekend. You and Ariel boarded a party bus? Yes. Can you describe the bus? She described it. She said, they had some blue beads. The chair was facing forward. There was an area where you put your bag on top. And she said, that's what I remember. I don't remember too much after that. All right, so she described the party, but I'm not sure why they tried to get her to describe the party bus. I guess they were trying to catch her on a lie, to say, oh, you lied. That's not really the party bus that you went into, but she described it. They didn't come back at her and say that she was lying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. It's cold outside. I should go inside. Aria, Val, and Matt and Mark. She said, do you remember whether Aria, Val, Matt, and Mike, and a bunch of other people was at the bus? She's like, I don't remember. Julian Coven. She said, I don't have a relationship with her, so I don't know her. And I don't know if she was on the bus. I don't remember. She said, I don't remember these people. The only person I remember was Ariel. Everybody else was a total stranger. She said, they asked, was the people dressed up to go to the club? She said, yes, people were dressed up. She said, did people have alcohol on the bus? She said, I don't recall. She said, did you and Ariel had alcohol? She said, I don't recall. She goes back to the Facebook account. She said, did you post on Facebook on and I think that she said December of 2025 that she posts on Facebook? I don't understand why she asked that question, to be honest with you, because in my opinion, are you trying to say that after she was sexually assaulted, she posted that she had a good time in December 2020? It happened, 2009? I was waiting for her to say, hey, you posted in December of 2009 that you had a great time. Why would you post that? But she let that hang. So I don't know, we're going to come back to that Facebook post, but she said, did you post on Facebook? She's like, yes. Then she went into, she's like, okay, when was Memorial Day? Did you get there on Friday? She's like, I'm not sure I got there on Friday. She said Memorial Day on that year was May 22nd to May 27, 2009. So May 22nd would have been that Friday. She said, I'm not 100% sure. Sure, I think I got there on Friday, but I'm not 100% sure. Right? Give me a second. I'm putting on my gloves. It's freezing out here. Let me put on my gloves. Stay right here, please. Woo! I can't believe I'm out here. Okay. All right, so she went into that, right? Sorry. Again, she said that there was a post on May 22nd. I put question mark, why did the defense mention that? Because they didn't go any further on that, right? She said, you went to the club? She said, yes. Did you have a good time? She said, yes. You went with Ariel and Matt? Yes. There was another woman in the photo. Was she on the party bus? She said, I don't remember anybody else that I knew on the party bus. Then she went into the Facebook and she talked about there's a photo. I guess she was looking at the photo that was posted in December 2009. I guess she's guessing, but she didn't fully flush it out. I guess she's trying to say, why do you have this photo posted in December 2009 after a traumatic weekend? I'm not sure where she was getting with that, but she never really followed through. And of course, the defense was trying to show photos. She said, do you remember if you were on the bus? She said, I don't remember who was on the bus. Was there a bus that took everyone to the house? She said, I think there was a bus that took everybody to the house, but for her, she was driven to the house in the car with her and Matt. So I guess she was the chosen one. Yesterday, she was talking about how the next day, a lot of people went home, and she was surprised that she asked Matt about it, and she said that they didn't make the cut. So I'm guessing she made the cut because they put her in the car and not in the bus with everybody else. She said, the government interview, do you remember telling the government that you met Paul at the house, not at the club? She said, no. Then the defense brought up the report saying that she said that she didn't see Paul at the house. But she said, it was a long time ago. I remember talking to them at the club for the first time. It's possible that it was later on, but I remember seeing them at a club. I remember a brief surface introduction to the brothers at the club. Apparently, she was trying to say, well, you really didn't talk to Olan. She keeps calling one of them Paul. I keep hearing Paul. Unless my ears is wrong, I wonder if one of them is called Paul, have a middle name. But she said, you didn't meet Olan. You didn't meet Paul at the club, did you? And stuff like that. She's like, I remember talking to them and being introduced to them in the club. But you didn't say that in the report. You said you don't remember. She said, I remember, or in my recollection, that I spoke to one of them in the club. I don't remember what time, but I remember seeing them and talking to them and being introduced to them at the club. She said, do you remember fewer people at the house than at the club? Yes, there were a lot more people at the house. At the club than at the house. It was dramatically decreased by the time I got to the house. And then this woman spent the entire time showing pictures of how many people was at the house because she said it dramatically decreased. From the club, it dramatically decreased in the house. So she spent the whole 20 minutes trying to prove to her that she's a liar, that there was more people at the house than the club. It's the most craziest shit I've ever seen. She said it felt like less than 25 to 30 people there the next morning. So apparently, according to her, there was a lot of people at the club partying and the bus, blah, blah. But when the next day it was less than 25 or 30. She said, so where did you stay? She said, so you stayed in the main room? She said, yes. She said, did you stay in the main room with Matt? This is where Matt is coming in. I don't know if Matt is for the defense or if Matt is for the government. Because I hope Matt come and tell me. Because I don't know. They put, Matt, you better run. Because they try to put everything on your ass, boy. I'm telling you, if you are covering up if you are the defense witness, I would reconsider that. Because they trying to throw their shit on you, my boy. I'm telling you. Because I never heard of what? So anyway, they said that. So you stayed in the main room? Yes. She said, and I thought that she said that she stayed in the cot. In the cot. That's what I heard. That was at the bottom of the bed. That's what I heard. But now I'm listening. Maybe I got caught wrong. Maybe I don't remember her saying Matt. I have to look at the transcript. But anyway, you stayed in the room with Matt? Yes, I stayed in the room with Matt. And she said, where was Oriel? Oriel was in another room. She said, and Val was somewhere else. She said, I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing her the next morning, right? She said, were you feeling Matt? Were you friends with Matt? She said, I had zero interest in Matt. She said, but you were sleeping in the same bed with Matt, right? She said, I was 16 years old. All right. She said, yeah, I know you keep saying that you're 16 years old, but that's not the thing is, but were you in the same bed with Matt and were you partly unclothed? She said, probably, because based on the picture you showed me, which I didn't know that anybody took because I was asleep. Yes, I was in bed with Matt. You know, she said, well, the next morning it looked like you were having a lot of fun because as you could see, you were in his arms. And she says, I don't know if, she said, I don't know if I was fine with it being in his arms. So it looks to me, they won't show me the picture. They won't show me the picture, guys, because they're keeping the video and the pictures hidden because we're not supposed to know who she is. And I don't even know if we're going to need to know who Matt is. But it seemed to me, based on this questioning, that maybe possibly when she woke up, she was in Matt's arms. You know how when you're sleeping in a bed? But she said, I don't know if I was fine with Matt. I don't know if I was fine that he had his arm around me or I had my arm. I don't know. I don't remember that. She said, I don't remember who took the picture. As you can see, I was sleeping. So somebody must have took a picture of her with Matt sleeping in the bed, and maybe their arms was around each other. And I don't know. She said that she probably had her shirt off, but she said I had zero sexual interest in Matt, and the defense did not ask her if she had sex with Matt. They didn't ask that, so that's interesting. I don't know if they're gonna come back with it later, but she definitely didn't ask that. So I was expecting her to ask her, did you have sex with Matt? I was expecting that, but they didn't ask. She said, I don't know if he was fine. I was fine with being in his arm or anything like that, but I didn't feel anything because he was a friend of a friend. So I wouldn't have. I guess she said she don't know if she was fine with it, but she wouldn't have like panicked because they know Matt, and Matt was a friend of Tyler's, and Tyler's was her friend, right? She said when she was there on Friday, she felt safe on Friday. So meaning when she went to the club, she went to the house, she went into she felt safe. She said, I didn't feel that I was in danger on Friday, right? I love the fact that she said that because it looked like they were trying to set it up for her to say, oh, I don't know, they took advantage of me, blah, blah, blah. But she was like, no, I didn't feel afraid on Friday. Whatever happened on Friday happened on Friday. I didn't feel I was in danger. She said, was people partying? She said, yes. Then she showed a picture. Do you recognize the picture? She said, I think that is Julian. Is that the guy that you, but it's a long time ago. And this is the first time I'm seeing this picture. It was a photo in the kitchen. She said, do you recognize other people there? She said, yeah, I think Val was there and David DeVoe was there, right? Hold on. So apparently Val was there also. I don't know why they keep bringing up Val. I don't know if Val again is going to testify, for the defense and say nothing happened. So I don't know why they keep bringing Val into this situation. Hold on. She said, do you recognize Matt? She said, I can't tell because that's the back. I don't see his face. She said, is that Val? She said, I'm not sure. She showed other pictures. Do you agree in the person in the picture 2A104 is Val? I think so. She said, do you remember other people being there from Friday night? The judge asked. That's when the judge was asking, because again, the judge would be like, when the judge feel that the defense is not asking the question correctly, she would come back. So she was like, do you remember anybody that was there from the Friday night, Saturday morning? She said, no, not really. All right. Do you see Val in the photo? She said, yes. Aside from Val, I don't know the other people. There were several objections. Every time they kept objecting to the picture, and the judge was, overruled. But she kept on saying over and over again, I don't remember any of the other people that was in the party. The only person that I really remember that was there was Matt. He left the first night. After the next morning, he left. And Ariel. I don't remember that Val or the other people wasn't there. But they kept on pushing her and pressuring her. And they showed her pictures. And she was like, I don't know. I said, I guess that's Val. It looked like her, but I don't recall. Until the point where the judge was like, okay, stop. Do you remember? She's like, no, I don't remember if they were there. If they're in the pictures, okay, but I don't recall. Then they left out. She said, then she started playing video, in which in the video you could see, I guess Val and Julian was at the party the Saturday. So I think they're trying to contradict her, saying that she didn't know anybody from the bus or from the club that was there the next morning. The only person that she remembered was Ariel, which obviously it could be true, guys, because if you've been through a traumatic experience, that you're going to focus on the people that's safe. So you're not going to focus on everybody. But that's what they're trying, again, they're trying to contradict what she had to say, that she's a liar. So they played the video. We didn't see the video, okay? But she was like, I guess that Val and Julian was there. She said, you said there was a few people under 18 on the bus. She said, yes. She said there was a few people younger than me. Yes. Right? She said, do you know that Ariel turned 18 on Memorial Day? You know what pissed me off about this line of question? They came in on Friday, which is another problem that the defense have now. She was 16. Her birthday, meaning Miss Brooks' birthday, was on Memorial Day weekend, that Monday. They raped her Saturday. She was still 16, but she was 17 on Monday. Whether you're 16 or 17, it's still grape. They were 29. These men was 29 years old. So now you're trying to say, oh, she may not have been 16. She was 17. What the fuck we doing? So anyway, she was telling her, do you know that Ariel turned 18 on Memorial Day? So if Ariel was also actually assaulted, then she would have been assaulted either that Saturday or that Sunday. So I don't understand what Monday has to do with it. But she said they kept on pushing that Ariel was 18 when she turned Memorial Day. I'm like, okay, so Ariel turned 18. So you're trying to tell me that Ariel was raped by them too? And when she was raped, she was officially 18? What the fuck you telling me? But at the end of the day, she was 16. This is the kind of thing that pisses me off, guys. She said that you turned on May 26th after Memorial Day. Yeah, that's what's her birthday. She said Val was 17. She was a senior at the school. So she was either 17 or 18. So now they try to ask her what age Val was. I said, first of all, she didn't remember Val being there Saturday after the traumatic experience. Also, she didn't know. She said, I think Val was 17, 18. She said she believed, but she doesn't know. But they're trying to push the date. Then she said, Matt knew you were under 21 years old, right? She said, I don't recall, but did you tell him that you were 16? She said, I don't recall me telling Matt that I was 16, but he does know that I was under 21, right? So now she's trying to get us, sorry guys, so now she's trying to get us to lead us to think that if Matt didn't know and she knew Matt that she was under 21, then how would the brothers know that she was under 21, right? That's what they're trying to let us to believe. Hey, retired troll, how you doing? Right? So here's the problem that we have with this line of question. There already has a receipt, a text by one of the brothers to another brother said, I took down somebody at the age of 17. And he was 29. Or if he was the older brother, he probably was 30, 31. There's a text between them laughing. I took down somebody at 17. So what is it? In New York, right? I know in New York that they have some specific rules about how, you could, it's not considered statutory rape in certain situations. But it has to be a certain amount of ages, if I remember, in New York. So if you're 17 and you have sex with somebody at 21, that may not be considered statutory rape in certain courts. But if your bitch ass is 29 and 31 and 32 and she's 17, you rape the person. You rape the person. But no, that's not what they're trying to prove, my friends. That's not what they're trying to prove. They're trying to prove that they're 17 years old, so it was okay to be done that too. So anyway, I'm sorry. I get very offended when it comes to that. So she said, do you recall telling any people how old you were? She said, I had a fake ID, so yes, I do recall telling them that I wasn't 21. She said, but you wanted to go to the parties, right? You wanted to go to the big 21 party. She's like, yes. That's why I had a fake ID. She said, so did everybody needed to get ID to get to the club? She said, no. Some of these girls did not need to have IDs to get to the club. All right? And some of them did not have fake ID, and they were young girls. That's what she said. She said, did you use your fake ID after Memorial Day? Did you want to go to the club, 21 years old club? And she's like, yes. She said, you said Val was not in the house. And then she showed the photo, right? And that's when the judge had enough. The judge had enough. She said, everybody meet. She said, everybody meet. Come to the front. It's like a fucking football gathering. Somebody said that it's like seeing a football team when these mofo brothers have 11 lawyers. 11 for 3 of them. 11 lawyers. I counted them. So every time they go up there, It's like a fucking football meetup, like a sport meetup. So all 11 lawyers have to go up there, including Mark Agnifilio, and then you have the government have like four people there. It's crazy. So the judge went up there, and I'm sure the judge was like, something the judge said to them yesterday: stop pushing the same narrative. Once you get an answer, move on. You're just trying to build you're just trying to build on something, and the jury is not getting what you're selling. You understand what I'm saying? So the judge called them all back up there. They had a conversation, and they came back. Every time the judge have a conversation with them, what they do is they put a static sound on the TV and the mic so we can't hear anything they said. Well, they got smart over there. I think the Diddy trial taught them a lot of bullshit. We can't hear shit. We can't hear shit. We can't see shit. Everything is under seal. Pisses me the fuck off. Anyway, they did that. And one of the things I did notice, because every time I go there, they ask me who I am. And they're separating the press from the family, which I don't remember they did that with the Diddy trial, because there's a lot of space. Because with the Diddy trial, a lot of people came and they sit in the background. But with in this court, there's a lot of space behind the family, and they put the press on one side of the room and they put the family on the other side of the room, which is weird. I don't know what they have special treatment because they're billionaires. Is that what we do in court? They have special treatment. We can't sit behind the family. We can't talk to them anyway. So anyway, I took note of that. I said, I just realized. So she started talking. So what time did you arrive? She said, I arrived late at night. That's Friday. The day, do you remember Val being there? Again, she kept on trying to push her to see if she remembered Val being there. She said, no, I don't remember her being there the next day. And that's why she kept on showing the video and the photos to say, you see, Val was there that weekend. You said Matt left. Yes, before the pool party. He said he was going to work. I don't recall he had any suitcase. Right? She was like, well, did he pack up and took his clothes and everything? Like she said, I don't recall. I was outside when he left, so I don't recall. But he didn't appear to be wanted to be there. It didn't appear that they wanted him there, to stay there. She said, I don't remember he had a suitcase. I was outside. I don't know if he expected to be there after the first night. That's what she said. She said, I felt confused that he left. I felt confused because I knew very little people. She said, but you knew Ariel and Val was there. You see, again, she's trying to get her to say that she should have been comfortable. And she's like, I knew very little people there. So the lawyer keep trying to, you know what I'm saying? So the judge, that's when the judge stepped back in again. She said, do you know when the photo was taken? She said, no, I don't. I love the judge for that. Because she kept on showing her pictures over and over again. And she's like, look, I don't remember this. And the judge was like, well, do you know when the photos was taken? And the defense was like, but judge, she's like, the judge was like, meaning that she doesn't know whether the picture was taken Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. She said, you keep saying that everybody was there, but she said, we don't even know if the pictures was taken the same weekend. I love the judge for that. Because the judge was like, you keep pushing these photos, and she's saying she don't recall. How do we know? So the defense was like, but judge, meaning like, we already agreed, but she didn't say that. She just said, but judge was like, she's saying that she don't recall. Let's move on, right? Defense taken it back. Where was the photo? Was the photos taken over the weekend? I love the judge for that. She said, you felt uncomfortable when he left? She's like, yes. She said, but yet you didn't call Matt, right? You didn't call a cab. She said, no, I didn't call Matt, and I didn't call a cab at the time. And I said to myself, because she already told you she didn't have a job. She was 16 years old. She was going to a party. It was free. She didn't have a job, so she didn't have the money. She said, no, I did not call a cab. She said, you did call one later, but she said, no, I didn't. It was me and Ariel there, and we were trying to figure out a way how to get out of there. Max said, I didn't plan to see. And then she talked about Rom. Apparently, Rom, she ended up going maybe to Rom's house maybe that weekend. I don't know how Rom get into it because, again, I didn't hear the connection. I'm going to have to read the transcript. She said, but I didn't plan to see Rom that weekend. I was surprised that he was there and stuff like that. So there was no possibility of me going to Rom's house. That's what she said. She said, a Saturday morning, you were ready. But you were ready at the pool party. She said, Saturday morning, you were ready at the pool party. All right, guy. And She showed a picture of somebody. She said, is this guy named Leon or Lom Cushing? I have to look at the transcript to see what the person named. She said, I recognize him, and he could be the guy with the long hair. But she said, I'm not sure, because apparently the guy that they showed him do not have long hair. But she said, I don't know, but most likely it's him. Then she said, okay, so you were in the hot tub for what, about an hour? She said, you sure it was an hour? She said, yes, I was there. She said, they passed bottles? Yes, they did pass bottles a couple of times. She said, isn't it true that is it true that you thought Paul was cute? Again, she keeps calling him Paul. And I don't know which of the brothers are Paul, but she keeps calling him Paul. She said, yes. She said, did you start flirting with him? She said, I was friendly with him. And then she got sarcastic. She's like, oh, so was he friendly with you? And she said, yes, he was friendly with me. Well, she thought the brother was cute, though. She said, you felt special because there was a lot of women there, because you said that. She did say yesterday that she felt special because he paid attention. But she said, I didn't really particularly felt special. So she kind of changed her terminology today. But yesterday she said she felt that she was surprised and she felt a little special because he came to pay attention to her. When he didn't talk to her, there was a lot of other women. So she said that. She said, were people in the pool? She said, I wasn't in the pool, I was in a hot tub. Okay, so she said, okay, but she said, but I was in a hot tub. She said, people was not really intermingling, because you could tell it's like a lot of them didn't really know each other, but they were there. She said, do you remember if there was a DJ or music? She said, I don't recall. She said, how many people was there? She said, about 15 approximately. She said, was it low key? She's like, I don't know what you mean by low key. She said, it was a party, and she's like, are you sure it was a party? There was no DJ. There was nothing there. There was no music. How can you call it a party? She said, I was 16 years old, and to me, that was a party. And I like, there you go. Because she was trying to say that it wasn't a party. A lot of people was there. They were just chilling and relaxing. And she's like, no matter what you say to me. And she was like, oh, so you don't know the difference between a party. When you go to a club, they have music, they have drinks, they have parties and stuff like that. But at the house, none of that. She said, it doesn't matter. I was 16 years old, and that to me was a party. Whether I was in a club, that's a party. When it was at the house, I called it a party. I was 16. That was a party to me. I was like, good girl. You kept it that good. You felt wobbly. You said that you felt wobbly. She said, yes. She said, did you attribute it to being in the tequila? Did they pass the bottle around? Did you have alcohol in the pool? That's what she's like, no, I wasn't in the pool. I was in the hot tub. So she said, okay. She said, could it be possible that the reason why you felt that way is because you were in the hot tub? She's like, no. She said, no, that's not why I felt that way. She said, I felt different. She said, because in the hot, they also was passing, some tequila. She's like, no, it felt different than when I'm I have alcohol in me. She said, were you eating that day? She said, I don't remember eating. And that's another reason why I like about this witness. First of all, she takes time to think about the questions. She takes time to answer. And she, you can see that she's recollecting. And she doesn't make things up. If she doesn't know, she's like, I don't remember eating. And she got something wrong. She's like, well, I don't remember, but if I see it, okay. I like her. To me, she seemed credible, but you never know with juries, because these motherfucking juries, they more concerned with the predator and keeping their reputation than they care about the survivors. That's my opinion. I'm basing it off a Diddy trial and all the other trials that happened in the past. That's my opinion. Anyway, so I don't know if they found her credible, but I definitely found her credible. She said, have you been eating before? She said, I don't remember eating. She said, your memory turned blurry, right? She said, yes. My memory was blurry at the time. She said, but I did know it was darker when the men... Ooh, I love when she said that. Hold up. The kid is running. Well, the kid is running. So she was trying to figure out she's like, so do you know if it was light or dark? She said, I do remember. She said, I remember when I went into the room, it was still light outside. It wasn't as dark, but I do remember it was dark when the men was raping me. Then when I walked into the room, go ahead, girl. Make sure you continue to put 16 and grape. She continued every time they asked, because she's like, wait a minute, I was 16. Wait a minute, I was raped. Wait a minute, there was 4 men. Every time the defense tried to deviate from the questions, she keep putting in there because she wants you to remember what happened to her. That was good. That was good. She said, I didn't know him. The people, she said, I don't remember. And this is what another thing. She said, I don't remember how the people got into the room, right? She remembers she got up and she went to the room and she remembered Paul. I call him Paul. I have to figure out why I keep hearing Paul. Went to the room with her. But she said she don't remember how the other people got in the room. Because remember, she wasn't conscious. She said, I didn't know how long I was in the house, but I do remember when I came out of the house, it was dark. It was black. She said, so you didn't recall so you didn't call your parents. You didn't text your friends. She's trying to say, so you got grapes, so you should have called your parents. You should have texted your friends. She said, I don't recall. I know that I went outside and I told Ariel. And where was Ariel? She was napping. So you're telling me it was late night and Ariel was napping? Yes, she was napping. When I went outside and I found her, she was near the garden. There was a garden path. And she was napping and I told her. Then she went in here. This is where it becomes now the survivor's fault, right? She said afterwards, so they didn't talk about the grape. Right? She didn't try to talk about the grape when I was there. I don't know if she went back to the question. I'm going to look at the transcript to see if she could dissect the grape. She talked about before and she talked about after. I was waiting for her to get, because that's why I was there, because I was supposed to leave, but I wanted to see if they were going to talk about the grape, to see if she was going to like finagle and try to get her confused and confess that the grape didn't happen. But she didn't. When I was there, she didn't talk about it. She talked about it afterward. So afterwards, you left the room. It was dark, and you went to speak. She said that. So afterwards, you stayed at the house, right? Explain. So she's like, yes, I stayed at the house. I was like, yeah, I went to the garden. She said, but you decided to get ready that night. She's like, yes. She said, did you? Sorry about that. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I know that sometimes when I get into text messages or when I get a call. So I came back. So hopefully you guys can hear me. All right. So anyway, so now she's playing the blame game. Now she's playing the game. So you decided to get ready for the night because they were going to the club. She said, yes. Did you do your makeup and hair? She said, yes. She said, how long did it take for you to get ready? She said, I don't know. She said, did you eat? She said, maybe a little bit of something. I don't remember. She said, I don't remember where they were until I saw them. So you were still at the house. She said, do you remember seeing the brothers, like Paul and I? She said, I don't remember. The only time I remember is when I saw, I believe it was Aaron slammed the door on the girl face. Apparently she mentioned that when she was at the house, she looked up and she saw that there was a UN woman who said, I'm part of the UN and I know what you're doing to the girls inside of the room. So apparently she saw that and she looked and she looked and she saw that the woman was upset because there was a girl inside the room and there was multiple men on top of the girl. And then the door slammed. She said, I remember seeing him because he slammed the door in the girl face that was yelling, I know what you were doing in there with the other girl, right? You went out afterwards, yes. And then she said very loudly, I wanted to get out the house. I was like, oh shit. She showed a little bit like, she snapped a little bit. She went a little high. She said, I don't remember. Do you remember how you got to the club? No, I don't remember how I got to the club. She said, I just had flashes of being at the club. She said, do you remember seeing Owen at the club? I think so. I saw one of them there. And she kept on asking him, are you sure that you remember? She said, I just remember seeing them at the club. Either that club or another. I remember seeing them that night. She said, I don't remember who took the picture. She said, they showed a bunch of pictures, right? And I don't know. I guess it was her and other people. I guess the brothers wasn't there. And she's like, I don't remember who took this picture. I don't even remember the picture being taken. Right? So, and I wrote in big parentheses, she skipped over the grape. She completely skipped. I wrote in big parentheses, she skipped over the grape. She didn't even want to talk about it. Then she started naming names. A woman name. The judge asked, do you know the other? She started saying, do you know this woman, one of the women named Epstein? I was like, that's weird. She said, yeah, I think I know her name was Epstein. Then the judge kept on trying to point her of, do you know who in the picture? She's like, no, I don't know them. I don't recall them. I don't know them. And the judge said, do you know anybody else in the picture? And she said, no. And she said, and I wrote, my last statement was the defense trying to trick her with photos. And then I had to get up and leave. So yeah, so that's what happened so far, guys. So they skipped over the grape. They didn't want to talk about that. I don't know if they're going to try to talk to her and see if she could deny actually being raped. I don't know how they're going to do it. At the end of the day, she was 16 years old. She had a birth certificate. She was at the house with the men that was 29 years old and stuff like that. She already said that she was not told that she was expected to have sex with them. She already said that Matt was their client. He was bringing girls to them. She already told him that. So I don't know why this line of question. I just know that they're trying to make her seem like she was a bad girl because she was young. She was 16 and she wanted to party and she wanted to experience and stuff like that. And that what happened to her was her fault. That's what the defense is trying to prove, right? So I'm not sure if I'm going to go back. I know I'm going to go back, but I don't know what time I'm going back, like on Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to try to go back because I want to see the other witnesses. I'm being told that the case is probably going to go for another week or two. They have additional witnesses. They say they have a book, according to the report, they have a book of 6. They're expecting 6 to 8 survivors to testify, but they have a list up to 16 survivors. They have a list of 16 survivors, females that's willing to testify on this case against these brothers. So we'll see. At the end of the day, I'm going to continue to go back and see if I could cover and get more information. If I can't, I'm definitely going to take the day off to go back to the judgment day, whether they're found guilty or not, when the jury is coming out to give their determination. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk more about the case. I don't know. We're supposed to go away this weekend. I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to talk more about the case, but that's exactly what happened today. Maybe I'll come back and then start from the beginning because I didn't read my notes from the first day. Maybe I'll do that. All right. Thank you, guys. Take care. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, Retired Troll, for being here. Thank you, that girl Henny, for being here. Thank you for Larry Nelson. Hey, how you doing? TTV Commit, thank you for being here. And take care. Okay, bye.